On the previous page, the first function we looked at was the rational expression x squared minus 2x minus 3 divided by x plus 1, and we used a table to numerically find that limit. In this video, what we'd like to do is see if we can use a graph to come to the same conclusion. If you remember, our answer was -4 in that case. So what I have here is a computer kind of version of your calculator where we can see the screen really large and we can see the keypad over here on the left. You'll see me use this off and on throughout the course. And I've carefully put in our function x squared minus 2x minus 3. That's in parentheses, divided by x plus 1. Again, this is so order of operations works correctly in the calculator. We need to make sure that we get a number for the top and a number for the bottom before we do that division represented by the fraction bar when we write this function out. So let's go ahead and graph this function, and the easiest way to graph it is to start with the zoom button and then choose option 6, which is zoom standard. A standard window starts at -10 on the left, goes to +10 on the right, starts at -10 on the bottom, goes to +10 on the top. You can use the window key to adjust that if you need to, but this gives us pretty much everything that we need to see. What we were interested in was what happened as we approached -1. So if we press the trace key and just type in -1, we can let the calculator try to figure it out for us, but you'll notice that y is equal to blank, and that's the calculator's way of telling us that it can't find a value when x is -1. We saw that if we plugged -1 into the top and the bottom, we got 0 over 0, that indeterminate form. But we might be able to look at some values to either side. So if we press that trace key again, I get this flashing cursor on my screen. It's currently just a little to the left of -1, and I can use the arrow keys that I have on my calculator to kind of take a couple steps further away and then come back toward -1. So I'm approaching from the left in this case. So let's see, we just had -1.5, then we got about -1.4, -1.2, -1.06. Those are my x values. And if we repeat that and look at the y values while we're doing that, we get -4.5, -4.4, -4.2, -4.06. So it looks like we're getting closer and closer to -4. Repeating the process from the other side, we see that if we start at like -0.2, we're at -3.2 for the y. As our x's get closer, coming from the right-hand side, we can see that our y's are getting a little more negative. And the closer we get to x of -1, the closer y seems to get to -4. So again, we can also use graphs. They're not necessarily always as easy to read, and a calculator helps a lot. But we can do that as well as considering what happens numerically, excuse me.